when it comes to websites, a lot of dental offices, the approach they take is to look at a friend's, at a competitor's, or someone they admire, look at their website, and try to copy that framework that exists on that website. And so what they're really doing is they're taking a framework that an agency or a freelancer created for that other person and trying to transplant that framework into their own website. And while that's better than nothing, I don't think that it's an accurate practice, and there's a better way we can do things, because the way that these other frameworks were built were probably meant for mass production. So it's a bit of a template that they can put a lot of clients through. And when it comes to your practice, there's a couple of different things that I'd like you to consider before building it out and before taking the frameworks. There's many frameworks out there that are good that you should take from, but here is the main thing. The first thing is, I think we should be very aware with the type of persona that are going through our website. So someone who is interested in dentistry because of cosmetic reasons is looking for very different things than someone who is interested in dentistry because of an emergency, or like on your website because of an emergency, or on your website because of a medical thing, something they're nervous about, right? These are very different personas and different mindsets that and worldviews that people are going through each case. So identify who is that persona you're first seeking to serve, and that's going to be the basis for how the website is built. A lot of times I see website structure where it's like, hey, here's a drop down of all the pages, and we have all the different categorizations. It looks very neat and tidy, but it causes a lot of issues because that's not the persona they might have wanted to attract, or the type of persona that they want more of. And so when we have all these different pages, it kind of clutters the actual message that we want to be sending, which is, hey, if you're this type of persona, come here. Basically, I'm talking about hoarding a lot of pages and trying to show everything is actually paradoxical because it doesn't provide the clarity that people need to move forward. So I think a better way to organize things would be to have it by first identify what personas are going to be on your website, and then create separate paths for those people, right? Hey, if you're looking for cosmetic stuff, this is the page. Here is the cosmetic landing page. Here's more galleries. Here's more photos. Here's more testimonials about cosmetic stuff. If you're more into surgical stuff, here's things about anxiety. Here's a lot of the promises we can make and how well you're going to be taken care of, right? Things to ease that. Maybe some stuff about payments and insurances and stuff. And then if you go into things like emergencies, it can be more call to actions, very quick availability. Immediately, here's the hours and what to do if they're in an emergency. Very different things that we need to keep in mind when we are thinking of different personas. All right, so another thing is a lot of people like to look at another website and go, hey, they have all these pages. Well, that's an era long ago when SEO was the main thing for a website. That was almost the main purpose. And so they would hoard all these, or like they would just stuff as many pages as they could for different keywords, and it would help them rank for those keywords. And now that is a bygone era. We don't do that, and we don't need all those pages. And so I see pages for things like fluoride treatment, pages for things like what an x-ray is. And these are just pages that are detracting from the clarity of your message and the clarity of the pathway that you can design people to go through step by step. But with all these pages, it gets confusing. People don't know where to click next. People don't know where to find things, right? So it actually hurts the ultimate outcome that we want, which is for them, or which is for you to be able to create a narrative for them to go through, right? So I say this rant because I've got a couple of client requests who want this, and I'll probably end up doing it for them with the explanation that, hey, this is probably a better way. But keep the personas in mind. Who are you building for is more important than how should it look or what do other people do. When you understand who it's for and what they're looking for, that should be the framework, right? It should be built upon what they're looking for and their desires, versus we're just going to get what other people do and make that our own, not knowing how or why it was created, but just because the others have done it. And this is a natural human tendency for us to follow the herd, but this is something we have to be very intentional about when it comes to business. when we're doing business, we have to be very intentional about, are people doing things the right way or are they doing it the wrong way? Because many times the things that everyone else is doing isn't always correct. And that's the opportunity. When we can realize that and intentionally build it the right way, that's much of business opportunities and where much of success comes from. All right, so that's it for today's video. Hope you liked it. Hope you found it valuable, and see you guys in the next one.